everyone. This is Jaclyn, and I'm with Mobilize Recovery. We, as in wanted to do a series in the spirit of Operation Understanding. There's no like online sort of anything, database history of Mobilize Recovery and the people of Mobilize Recovery. So I wanted to create this series called Understanding Mobilize Recovery. The first group of people that I reached out to were the OGs. These are the people that went to the original event in 2019 in Las Vegas. And these are the people who were there from the jump and have seen the evolution of the organization and the movement and all of that. And so I reached out to people to see who would be willing to talk about their experience. And I have Jessica here, and I've known Jessica since I got with Mobilize, I believe in 2020. But she was at the original event.
Mhm.
And what was happening in your life at the time or in your community in 2019 that made you decide, like, I really need to go to this event in Vegas?
2019. Well, that's a long time ago. We laugh. Our friends and I, here in Wisconsin, we were baby advocates back then.
Yes.
The stuff we did not know. But personally, in 2019, I was pretty broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was working through major life changes that were happening within my family unit, addiction issues that were going on within my family unit. And there was just havoc within my home. And by the grace of God, Ryan Hampton had come along and he picked up all those broken pieces and he was putting my family back together, especially my kids. And so my son in 2019 was speaking with Ryan in schools and sharing his story. And it had just hit 1 million views on the recovery advocacy page at that time.
Whoa.
And I had secured private funding for the overdose aid kits. And that was through Sharon Murillo with ServeURX. And so mobilized, right? Then showed up and Ryan's like, yeah, to come. You should come to this. And so I reached out to our funder, Sharon, and said, hey, like, I want to go to this. Ryan is somebody you should meet. And I think the three of us could do some really, really good work. And yeah, and so we had a couple meetings and Ryan was so instrumental in helping us get the Oaks from point A to point B to where they were like physically in our hands.
Yeah.
And so we went to Mobilize, and that was that. And that was really what was going on in my life in 2019. It was personally, I was just a mess, and so I was reaching out. I think professionally to try and like hang on to something and keep right and like keep a sense of normalcy for my family and keep sane and Mobilize did that for me.
What was going on, like, advocacy-wise? Like, what did that look like for you, as a baby advocate before Mobilize? What did that look like for you, and when did you actually start doing that?
Starting in 2017, 2018, I was hosting recovery advocacy days. I was hosting the statewide rallies at the Capitol. I was doing those types of things. I was lobbying for bills that we needed. I was meeting with my legislators. I was meeting with our governors. And that was kind of what I was doing prior to Mobilize Recovery. And I was doing that at the direction of, I guess, other advocates that I had learned from in the state. Caroline Beidler, she used to be Caroline Miller. She was somebody who actually trained me. She was my mentor, her and Flo Hilliard. Yeah. And so they were the people that I looked to, right? And to try to figure out, like, how do I do this? And that was her.
And with your advocacy, was that coming from a place of like your own personal recovery, or was that coming from like a familial point of view?
It was from both. And so in 2004, I made the decision to stop drinking. And so I have not drank since 2004, but I also have family members who suffer from addiction. And that continued right all the way through. And 2018 is where that was like that tipping point, 2018, 2019. And so I think, buckled down in 2018, 2019, and the Oaks were created from all of that.
Will you tell us more about the Oaks and what they are?
Sure. This is what I do on Zooms. The overdose aid kit. Whenever I
You mean
yeah, so our Oaks, the overdose aid kits, you can find them online with the Clinton Foundation. I have been blessed to, because of Mobilize, I need to add, I went on a bus tour with Mobilize Recovery in 2022, and we went across the country and installed over 200 of these Oaks, ended up in New York. And so thanks to Ryan Hampton, I owe a lot to Ryan. And when you sit back and think about it, he's my brother, and I just Mobilize Recovery changed my life. And so Ryan secured me a speaking engagement at the Clinton Global Initiative. I had no idea what I was doing. Again, baby advocate, right? And I
Right,
walk up
right.
on this stage and I'm like, I have this box. Right. It was my oak box and they loved it. And they asked me to come work for them. And so that's where our Oaks live now, is with the
Yes.
Clinton Foundation. And that's underneath ORN, our Overdose Response Network. Inside the Oaks, you will find naloxone, fentanyl testing strips, instructions on how to reverse an overdose. We have breathing barriers inside there. We partnered with SAMHSA, so you get SAMHSA cards, and we partner with Safe Project. So Safe Project also has their
Oh,
cards
yeah.
inside there with QR codes on how to reverse an overdose. They have tons of videos. They're an amazing organization. Yeah, so we have all that inside there, and I do online naloxone trainings. And like in Wisconsin, we go out and we install them. We partner with Start Healing Now for the naloxone. But we have contracts all throughout the country, and we have over 5,500 of them up so far.
That's wild. That's
Yeah, it is.
freaking
It's crazy when
wild.
you think about it from like where I was in 2019
No shit.
to
And
here.
for context, I was at the Clinton Global Initiative when Jess spoke, and I remember being like so fucking proud of you. Like, how the fuck is this happening right now? Like, it was very surreal because again, like you're going along with it, but you're not realizing the gravity of it. And I remember thinking like, this is so fucking cool. Like, this is just awesome to see like someone like a friend up there being like, this is the thing I created. And like, fuck yeah, dude, that's amazing. And again, like you said, with Mobilize kind of being like the big connector for everything,
Yep.
when you went to the original event, is there anything specific about the event that like really stood out to you that like this kind of is different from any other sort of conference or convening that you had ever gone to?
Yes. So, and there's this one moment, and it's not really about the conference itself or like the material, right? Well, we
Yeah.
learn a lot at those conferences. I mean, the convenings, whatever we want to call them. I remember when I met you, that was when we were narrative coaches, right? And like,
Yes.
there's just so
Mhm.
much stuff that we learned to do and how to advocate and bringing it back. But I think the thing that makes Mobilize different is the connections that you make with people. And I will never forget, I came down into the lobby of the Westgate Hotel and I was like, oh, I'm bored, right? And I kind of wanted to do something, but I didn't really know what to do. And Sharon had gone out to eat with one of her friends that she had known. And so I was like, well, what am I going to do? I don't know anyone here. It was the first night. And so standing in the hotel lobby was Jesse Harvey. He was
Oh,
by himself, just chilling. And I walked by and I was like looking like I was lost. And he said, are you lost? And I'm like, mm-hmm. And I had my banner, my like name tag on. And so he knew I was with Mobilize.
yeah.
And like, that's the thing, right? Is you can pick out people in a hotel that we're all at and you're like, oh, they're with us. They're our
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And so next thing I knew, Tara Hyde and David Stockton came walking up and they're like, well, we're going to Fremont Street. We're going to go zip line. And I was like, wait, what? And they were like, yeah, come with us. And I was like, I don't have plans to do that. I don't, I'm a type A, like I'm a planner. And they were like,
You're like, this was not in my schedule.
that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. And I was like, I was just going to go find something to eat. And they're like, no, you should come with us. And I was like, I don't know these people, but I went. And Tara, like to this day, is somebody that I still talk to, right? Like I love her to death. And it's just crazy to me how these defining moments at Mobilize, like you meet so many people that become lifelong friends of yours and people who would like die for you, right? It's just crazy how you just meet people and like you can go someplace and just there's no shame, there's no stigma, there's no judgment, people from all walks of life. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do. And I don't know. That's something that was really a learning moment for me because I'm so like, I think before that I was just so stuck in like this, oh, this is how things are and this is how it is. And it like really broke me out of that mode of thinking. And so, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the one thing again, and that I had never been to like any sort of recovery convening or anything at that point. And the first one that I did was the online one in 2020. And I remember thinking like, I don't belong here. Like all these people are like CEOs and nonprofit
Mhm.
directors and whatever. And I remember feeling like I don't think I belong here. But yet, even with like the initial intro or just any of the panels or anything like that, seeing people in the chat, like you felt included,
Yeah.
which was weird because again, it was the pandemic. So it's like, this is the first time a lot of us are doing anything on this scale, like online. And so I remember thinking like, why does this feel like actually genuine? You know what I mean? Like you're so used to like shit where it just gets fluffed up. Like, hey, we're just gonna boost up the company. This is all the great shit that we do. Blah blah blah. But I felt like there was just the bigger like goal was to spread awareness about different types of ideas or different types of, kind of like theories, ideologies, whatever it might be. And like thinking back 7 years, like what is something or maybe sort of like an ideology or maybe just like self-imposed stigma that you had like going in that like is no longer true for you now?
No.
How much time do we have?
Well, no, I mean, like for me, the biggest one for me, I think, was that like sober means absolute sobriety.
Yeah.
That was it for me, right? I am a counselor by trade. And so I have spent so many years being trained by professionals, by professors, even in the field, by people that I work with, right? That, well, when you're in sobriety, you're in sobriety. That means that you're not using any other substances. And as a counselor, providing individuals drug tests every single week. And then if they come up positive for something, it was like, absolutely, we need to kick them out of treatment. And so being like, it's almost like brainwashed. Like that's how it has to be as a counselor. And then stepping out of that role and not doing that anymore and into this role of like advocacy and going to Mobilize and like taking on this different, I guess, role at the state when I was working. I really got to see a different side of things and like meet people who were actively using drugs and doing it safely. And I was like, oh, wait. And it was like I really had to like have these come to Jesus moments and talk to a lot of people because I didn't understand how it worked and my brain couldn't comprehend it. So yeah, like I think coming to Mobilize, I met people who were using drugs and I was like, but they're not bad. you know?
Yeah. Right.
And
Right.
they're not in jail. Like I don't wait, what? And it's because I was I was trained that way. And so yeah, for the first time, I started shifting my mind. And I think over the last 7 years now, like it's focusing on like that harm reduction, which we're not supposed to say anymore. That harm reduction aspect of things and like learning. I learned how to speak about naloxone in a way that people would understand and like listen to me and respect me versus like how I talked about it before. And I just learned to advocate for like all pathways of recovery. And so that was huge for me. And thanks to Mobilize, I learned how to do that.
Yeah, and I think that's especially if like your field, you are trained to look at things in a certain way. Like it doesn't necessarily leave room for interpretation because you're like, I kind of want to keep my job, like I don't think I can go rogue here. But I mean, just the fact that even still, once you started to grasp this idea or this new concept, was that like kind of shift in your brain or in your values the reason that prompted why you left counseling, or was there other stuff that came up after Mobilize?
I left because of Sharon Murillo. Yeah. I mean, she offered me an amazing opportunity to come work for Serve URX and to follow my passion and my dream. And I did not think, honestly, that the Oaks would come alive, right? Like I didn't think that this idea that I had to put naloxone into a vehicle per se and put it on the walls all across the United States. And at that point it was just Wisconsin would ever come to fruition. I was just kind of like spitballing things because I was, like I said, in like this broken place. And she encouraged me to follow my dream and she supported me and she hired me to come work at the pharmacy, and I'm not a pharmacist, and so she created a position for me and paid me very well to come and like keep working on this idea of the box and then pushing it out. And I've never looked back. I just, and then things just continued to snowball and snowball and I snowball the right word? I don't know, but yeah. And so, and here I am, and I'm not in that field anymore. I'm just doing this.
Yeah. And I think you bring up a great point too, is regarding like the encouragement. I feel like whenever I'm at a Mobilize event, it's not like negative. Like there isn't a focus on like fear. There isn't a focus on like, you know, all the bad shit. The focus is really on like what's possible and what can we build together and what can we do? Because there were times that, again, like how you were talking about, like just spitballing, there were just conversations where I would just say random shit out loud and somebody be like, yeah, let's do that. I'm like, no, but I mean, like, we can't, you know what I mean? Like, you need to have permission or you need to have whatever. But I feel like being around this specific group of people, mobilized people, I feel like we all are very optimistic in the sense of what we would like the world to look like. And I know you've kind of touched upon your work and now with you being with the Clinton Foundation and all of that, but how has, in terms of your work, like, have you evolved in any sort of way about like your why as to, because I know a lot of times, like I got into advocacy because I lost my brother to an overdose. So originally I came in as a family advocate. And then as time went on and I started, you know, doing my own healing, I realized like my mental health's like actually not in the best spot. And so that became more of my why, was to kind of discuss that. Did your why shift over time after Mobilize?
Yes. I said I wasn't going to start crying on this. I
Well, even
think,
with me, I always cry. So
yeah, I think at first the 2019 Mobilize, because I was there with Sharon, it was like this amazing, like loving opportunity for us to check things out. And I learned so much. And then my why, because while that was going on, I was creating the Oaks and we were like pushing them out and they became this thing, right? And then after we lost her, my why now is to keep her alive. So I'm just trying really hard, even though I work at the Clinton Foundation and the Oaks are housed there. My why has shifted in order to keep Sharon's memory alive and to keep those conversations that we had alive. And yeah, I guess it's just maybe my way of continuing that like gratitude that I have for her. And I just want to be successful because she gave me like that seed to do it. And so my why is just to be like, hey, look, you know,
Mhm.
we're doing it. And it just really sucks that she's not here. And sometimes when there's like really, really big moments that, you know, we've secured within the foundation, I sit back and just, I'm so happy and thankful for those moments. But then at the same time, it's like, gosh, she's missing it, you know?
Yeah. People don't talk enough about like how bittersweet things are. Like as you continue to go on and get these victories, like
Yeah.
there's clearly people we have, thanks. Now I'm crying. There's clearly people who that we've lost along the way. And so it's like we want these people to see these things and like,
Um,
hey, the reason I push for this is because of you, or the reason that I even felt encouraged or supported to or had the confidence to even do this was because of you. And while it's really cool to like see things evolve, you know, obviously with the Oak Box or just in your own career or anything like that, it's like there's always one person who like lent a lot to, you know, who you are, and to not have them around to see that is a lot. And I don't think people talk enough about that because obviously in this space, unfortunately, I think we get very numb to losing people because it just happens way too often and it's unnecessary. But when you get these moments where you're like, oh, here's joy, like grief is still there going, but I'm still here.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being in this space, the connection is like the biggest piece. The people is the biggest piece. I saw Mobilize Recovery and I'm like, well, I don't consider myself in recovery and I'm not mobilizing. I'm just in my home. So I'm like, I don't think I belong here. But for you, like say someone would be watching this video or say someone heard about Mobilize or randomly came across it and was like, I don't know if that's my vibe or not. What would you tell that person or what encouragement might you give to that person just about not only even like getting into Mobilize, but just getting into any sort of advocacy work?
Um, I tell them to do it, right? And like obviously there's like a fear there,
Mhm.
and you need to figure out what that fear is and why. People who get into advocacy do it because of something deep down that drives them there. And I'd figure out what that is and what your why is, and just do it. Do new things. Talk to people you don't know. You know, 7 years ago, I met people at Mobilize that have become lifelong friends. Like I think these are people who have my back no matter what. People who celebrate all of my wins, people like Jaclyn who would fly to Washington, D.C. to watch me get some award because no one else would come. And so these are people who cry with you when you have down days. And so advocacy is a journey, and just find your people along the way and stick with them. Keep an open mind, and I guess maybe like just be true to yourself, because there's a lot of people out there who will try to tell you how you should act and what that should look like, and don't change for those people. Just stay true to who you are.
Yeah. One other thing that I just wanted to touch on, just in regards to the original event, because I brought this up with Ryan, Garrett, and Aaron, because I had a conversation with them about, like, could you tell me about the event? Because I clearly wasn't fucking there. And they were talking about how, like, they were the people who were unloading the things off the trucks. And I think about that now. I'm like, I could never see Ryan doing that. I am curious, how have you seen it evolve in the sense of, like, that initial kind of like production, so to speak, and the way that it looks now? Like, what has that evolution looked like to you?
I think the first one in 2019. I mean, there's been so many, but like, right, it wasn't. I mean, it was organized, but not organized. I mean, like, I remember we showed up, and Ryan was like running around constantly, like he did not know what he was doing, and like even to like, get a word in with him. I remember them like setting things up and, moving different things. And I'll never forget the year of COVID. That was crazy as well, when we all had to be tested and like stand in lines, and, that was fun. But I think even the first year, like watching, like we didn't have anyone that really came that stood out to me as far as speakers the first year, right? And then if you think about how we've built to the point where we've had like Macklemore, come and like he popped in on the poetry slam and sat down like he's just a normal person, and everyone was like, and I was like sitting on the table behind him, and I'm like.
And for context, for anyone watching, is we had our Mobilize convening in 2023 in DC.
Yes.
And thankfully, Macklemore agreed to be a part of it. And on the final night of the event, everyone got tickets to go to the Macklemore concert because it was a part of his tour. And which was cool because he gave a shout out to Mobilize that is recorded on my phone. It was like the coolest fucking thing ever to be like, oh my God, he knows me. But he was going to come on the second day, and he was a part of a discussion that was going to happen on stage. And the night before, Joseph Green had put on together, there was a bunch of students that he had spoke with or taught really to tell their story. Yep. And I get a text from Ryan, and he's like, Macklemore is down here right now. And I was like, down where? What are you talking about? He's like, he's in Joseph's event right now. And I was like, what? And I just pull up Facebook because, again, that's one thing I will say is different. When I go to other conferences, convenings, no one wants to like take pictures and have fun.
You got Randy Anderson.
Well, yeah. Let's just say, first of all, we have King Selfie, King Megaphone. Right. But then it's like, I don't think any other event, like there isn't that like prioritization of like fun. Like,
no, it's like everyone wants to take pictures. Right. Like it's the magic of Mobilize Recovery.
And it's not even like some people might, again, if you're not attending and you're not in a good spot, you're like, look at these fuckers bragging. We're not bragging. Like we're just so excited that the people from the internet were actually who they said they were. Like, you're not a serial killer. You're actually not a psychopath. There's always like this celebratory feeling about it. And so like, again, Macklemore just randomly showing up just like to hang out and just to hear what was going on. And I remember afterwards, even people who wanted to come and talk to him, he talked to everyone. He was so chill. And I just remember thinking like, this is wild. This is truly a wild thing because Macklemore is in recovery. And I remember on the stage, I was watching it from backstage, and he had mentioned harm reduction. And I remember how loud everyone was. They're like, yeah, harm reduction. And to me, that was like, holy shit, this is evolving. Obviously, we're in the state that we're in now, and it doesn't feel like we're evolving, but I think we had enough of a taste of what it could look like to continue to keep pushing forward with that. And even like, obviously, Mobilize will continue and move on, but I think it's really great that again, you are still engaged with it. I think a lot of people who went to the original are still engaged with all of this. And it's great to see how everyone has like grown. It's not like I look at anyone who went to Mobilize and it's like they're still doing the same thing in the same position, in the same, you know what I mean? Everyone has evolved in whatever way, shape, or form. And it's been really cool to see like people move on to do cool projects, cool things, do cool stuff, travel across the country, do all these things. So it's like this is your friend trip. Like, here's the one friend trip. We're all going to meet up here. I really love that about this. I appreciate you taking the time out to talk about this because, again, I really want to get the perspective from people who attended. I think that's the thing is like people will want to do a history of something like, I don't know, 30 fucking years later. And I'm like, yeah, that's not necessarily as fresh in the memory. And then obviously with the last 5 years feeling like 15 years, I'm like, I need to talk to these people now. So I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. I just wanted to see, is there anything else you wanted to add just on the advocacy side? Because I always want to give people a platform, a soapbox, if you will. If there's anything that you want to add for anyone that's watching, whether it be your work, whether it be whatever you want to say.
I guess just I've learned so much from Mobilize Recovery that I use it almost every day in my life. And Wisconsin is doing a bus tour.
Oh,
And so,
no shit.
yeah, we're doing a mini like week-long bus tour. And so
Cool.
it's really exciting. And we're doing a recovery advocacy day at the Capitol, September 30th. And
Okay.
so these are all things that I have learned from Mobilize Recovery, how to talk to your legislators and those types of things, town halls, hosting those events. I've learned all of that from Aaron and Garrett and Ryan and you and like how to do these things. And so it's just plug and play, right? Like learn,
Yeah.
put it in, and do it in your hometowns and in your states. So I guess whatever you guys are out there learning and doing, and if you come to Mobilize in the future, just make sure you take it home with you and
Yeah.
do it.
For the mini bus tour, do you have dates on that in case people are curious?
We're hoping that the bus will be parked outside the Capitol on September 30th. And then
Cool.
we'll take off right from there.
Uh-huh.
And we're going to go that week. So October 1st throughout. And then we'll be stopping in 5 major cities in Wisconsin. And Rogers Behavioral Health is one of our major
Oh,
sponsors.
fun.
Yeah. So
Cool.
we'll be stopping at their locations and having, just some recovery fun.
Awesome. For more information about that event or any of that, is there a website? Where can they go to find that out?
We have it on Facebook.
And I'll grab the link or links so whoever's watching this
Yeah, it
just
was
go to the
just
caption.
posted on Facebook today. So that's why it's fresh in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's on my Facebook page, so you can grab that.
Awesome. All right, Wisconsin people, if you are interested, I highly suggest you go to this. That's the other thing. Even if something isn't officially a Mobilize branded event, but it's Mobilize people organizing it, it's going to have the Mobilize vibe. So I would highly recommend doing this. And once again, I thank you for taking the time out to chat with me today. And let me stop the recording.